If someone ever wants to make a Pathfinder version of my channel, you have my full permission. Please do. I'm not going to.
Welcome to Untested Builds, where we make fictional character builds for Pathfinder 2E. Today we're building Deku, a character who through sheer dumb luck and tenacity convinced the world's most influential person to give him the strongest superpower ever. We'll be trying to build up to the point we see by season 4 of the anime, so spoilers in case you clicked this video and didn't know who Deku was.
I hurt myself today.
For our goals for this build, we need to be smart, like freakishly book smart, specifically about the powers of our friends and enemies and be able to identify everything we see on the fly. Second, we need to be fast. Deku outspeeds the guy whose quirk is literal engines in his legs. Third, we need to hit like a truck, not just with our fists and legs, but with some ranged options as well. For stats, we're going to be using the steps outlined on page 24 of the core rulebook. Everything starts at 10, and depending on our class, ancestry, and background, we take different boosts and flaws to reach our level 1 stats. Roll for stats if you want, but make sure you're prioritizing intelligence and dexterity to pick our class and certain archetype feats. For Deku, we're going to be prioritizing dexterity. All of your damage, output, and versatility comes from Deku's ability to wield one for all with finesse, not brute force. Intelligence next. You're an obsessive note taker, even though your ability to recall knowledge in the heat of battle is basically flawless. And a full third of the anime is dedicated to Deku's internal thought processes as he figures his way through situations. It's kind of your main thing until you get a handle on your quirk. Third is going to be wisdom. It's going to be hard to use that knowledge of yours if you aren't observant enough to see what's going on. Next will be hitting constitution. You start off as a typical frail middle schooler, but every blow you throw hurts you just as much as your opponent, and you can grin and bear it almost as good as your mentor. Next is going to be charisma. You're not bad at making friends, but no one really notices you until you destroy a giant robot with a single punch. Lastly, we're dumping strength. Like I said, one for all is more about how well you can control it, not how much muscle you put behind it. Deku is a human, but you can go halfling if you want more variety. You get to optimize your build a little bit better by taking a hit to strength and boosting 3 other skills instead. As a human, we'll use our 2 free ability boosts on intelligence and dexterity. We'll take the scholar background, specializing in Arcana for a boost to intelligence and constitution. It also gives us a free assurance feat, meaning we can take a 10 plus to our Arcana Academia lore skill checks instead of making a die roll. For our class, we're going to go monk. Deku doesn't use weapons unless you count gloves that appear to be made out of some kind of cloth. But he's more than capable outside of his hero costume, which is basically just a jumpsuit anyway. As a level 1 monk, we'll take a free boost to either strength or dexterity. We'll take dexterity. At level 1, we also get 4 free ability boosts, which use dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and wisdom. We also get flurry of blows, which allows us to make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1, and we add the damage if both hit for overcoming weaknesses and resistances. First level monks also get powerful fists, making our unarmed strikes with our hands lethal without taking the -2 circumstance penalty. We'll also increase the damage from 1d4 to 1d6. For our human heritage, we'll take the skilled heritage to become trained in an extra skill of our choice, and then we become an expert in that skill at level 5. We'll take society. Since the heritage is more reflective of your natural disposition as opposed to any special class training, and Deku is our narrator most of the time, he's got a good grasp on how the outside world works. For our class feat, we'll take Dragon Stance. It's a little early for shoot style, but while we're unarmored, this feat allows us to enter a stance to turn our unarmed strikes with our feet from 1d4 to 1d10 bludgeoning damage. We also get to ignore the first square of difficult terrain while striding in this stance. For our Ancestry feat, we'll take Natural Ambition, which gives us access to an extra class feat. Shoot style is nothing without full cowling, so we'll take the Key Rush feat to give us access to our first focus spell. Key Rush allows you to make 2 consecutive move actions in any combination in 1 action, and then until your next turn you gain the concealed condition, making you functionally 25% harder to hit. For our skill increases, we'll become trained in acrobatics, athletics, diplomacy, medicine, crafting, intimidation, and performance. At level 2, we'll take the quick identification skill feat, which allows us to determine an ongoing magical effect more quickly. 1 minute instead of 10 if you're trained, 3 actions if you're a master, and 1 action if you're a master in the relevant skill. For our class feat, we'll dip into Wizard by taking the Wizard Dedication feat. Doing so gives us access to a spell book that we can add 4 cantrips to and prepare 2 of those cantrips daily. The notable cantrips here are Detect Magic and Dancing Lights. Deku gives off a whole light show when he gets powered up, so being able to replicate that in game is an absolute priority. The other cantrips are entirely up to you, but for lore reasons, I chose Produce Flame and Telekinetic Projectile. If Deku wasn't such a quirkless nerd, he'd probably have inherited one or both of his parents' quirks. By now, Deku's mom can telekinetically move small objects, and his dad can breathe fire. I don't read the manga, but if something has come up to give Deku his true inherited quirk, then I'll be happy these were in the spellbook somewhere. For our skill increase, we'll become trained in stealth, because sometimes a hero gotta sneak. Level 3 monks get incredible movement, which adds 10 feet to our movement speed as long as we're unarmored. And this bonus increases by 5 feet for each 4 levels we have beyond the third. We also get Mystic Strikes, which allows our unarmored strikes to become magical for the purposes of overcoming resistances. We'll take the Toughness feat for extra HP equal to our level, and our DC for recovery checks on recovering from the dying condition gets reduced. For our skill increase, we'll become an expert in lore academia. Gotta stay in school. At level 4, we'll take the quick jump feat in order to make a high jump or long jump action without needing to make an initial stride. We'll also take the basic wizard spellcasting feat, giving us access to a first level spell slot and allowing us to add 2 first level spells to Deku's notebook. Jump lets us make a 30-foot leap. Gust of Wind gives us access to our first smash attack. You can force a fortitude save on a large or smaller creature in a 60-foot line until the start of your next turn. Targets who fail are knocked prone, and targets who critically fail take 2d6 points of bludgeoning damage in addition to being knocked prone. Level 5 monks gain Alertness, which raises our perception proficiency to Expert, and Expert Strikes, which, as the name implies, raises our unarmed strike proficiency to Expert as well. For our Ancestry feat, we'll take the Clever Imposter feat, which allows us to take a bonus equal to half our level on untrained skills. At level 7, this bonus increases to equal our level instead. In addition, we can make skill check actions that normally require you to be trained even if you are untrained. Deku's a smart guy. He figures out a lot on the fly. For our ability boost, we'll hit up Dexterity, Constitution, Intelligence, and Wisdom. For our skill increase, we'll become an expert in acrobatics. We'll also gain an additional intelligence-based skill increase. For this, we'll take performance. Remember that school festival episode? Well, here you go. 6th level basic wizard spellcasters gain a 2nd level spell slot and gain access to 2 2nd level spells. Water Walk allows us to walk on water using our move speed for 10 minutes. Spider Climb gives us a climb speed equal to our movement speed and allows us to cling to most surfaces for 10 minutes. Put that training from Gran Torino to good use and get bouncing on walls and water. We'll take the Recognize Spell skill feat, which allows us to recognize an incoming spell as a reaction. A success allows us to recognize the spell, and a critical success gives us a +1 circumstance bonus to our AC or saving throw against it. For our class feat, we'll take the Key Blast Focus spell for an effective smash attack. We can spend 1 round to force a fortitude save in a 15-foot cone, dealing 2d6 damage to targets who fail. If you spend 2 actions instead, it does 3d6 and double the range. If 3 actions are spent, quadruple the range and deal 4d6 damage instead. 7th level monks gain access to the Path of Perfection. For this, we'll increase the proficiency rank of our reflex saves. We'll also gain weapon specialization for our unarmed strikes, increasing the damage by 2 if we're an expert, 3 if we're a master, and 4 if we're a legendary. We'll take the general feat, Catfall, which lets us fall from increasing heights depending on our acrobatics proficiency. By the time this build is finished, Deku will be an acrobatics master, and as such will never take fall damage again. You can't let them see you on your back if you're going to be the new symbol of peace. For our skill increase, we're increasing Lore Academia to Master. I'm only doing this because Academia is literally in the title of the show. I never claimed we were power building here. 8th level basic spellcasters gain a 3rd level spell slot and access to 2 3rd level spells. Wall of Wind creates a barrier of wind that is 60 feet long and 30 feet high that blocks all ranged physical attacks for 1 minute. It's difficult terrain for most creatures and impassable for gaseous creatures. Flying creatures caught in the path are forced to take a fortitude save. The real reason we took the wizard archetype, however, is for haste. Haste gives the target the quicken condition, gaining an additional action. In addition, you can also make an extra stride or strike action during each of your turns. For those not keeping track at home, we can have up to 5 stride actions with haste up at our now moving speed of 55 feet. That's 55 feet in a single turn, potentially up walls and ceilings and across bodies of water. We'll also take the Encouraging Words skill feat, which allows us to have an ally recover up to 2d8 stamina points based on a diplomacy check. Deku thrives on giving his classmates rousing speeches mid-combat. Level 8 monks also gain a class feat, and the Wild Winds Initiate feat is why we went monk in our base class. Using dedication feats, we wouldn't be able to take this until level 16, and I wanted to feel like One for All full counting 20% as soon as possible. Wild Winds Initiate gives you access to the Wild Winds stance at the cost of 1 focus point. Until you leave the stance, your unarmed strikes become Windcrash strikes that deal 1d6 bludgeoning damage to targets within 30 feet, ignoring concealment and all cover. In addition, while in this stance, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your AC against ranged attacks. So now we're fast, hit hard, and can even Delaware smash as often as we want. We could end the build here, but you can't be the symbol of peace without going beyond. Level 9 monks get metal strikes, so your unarmed strikes get treated as cold iron or silver for the purposes of attacking supernatural creatures. You also get monk expertise, so your monk DC as well as your key spells get increased to expert proficiency. For our Ancestry feat, we'll take Incredible Improvisation. This is basically an upgrade on our Clever Improviser feat, so now we get a +4 bonus on untrained skill checks in addition to the flat bonus of +9 we get for skipping the die roll. For our skill increase, we'll now improve to Master Proficiency in Acrobatics. At level 10, we get a skill feat. We'll take a basic one this time with Kip Up, allowing us to stand from a non-standing position as a free action. For our class feat, we'll take the Wind Jump Key Spell, which gives us a fly speed equal to our speed for 1 minute. Maybe One for All gives you the power of flight, maybe it just lets you fall in style. Either way, pesky walls and ground hazards mean nothing to you now. For our abilities, you guessed it, we're boosting everything except strength and charisma. Level 11 monks choose our second path to perfection. For Deku, we'll choose Fortitude saves this time. We'll also take the Nimble Crawl feat. At this point, since we're a master in acrobatics, we have a crawl speed equal to our move speed, and by the end of this build, we'll no longer be flat-footed while prone. We'll also increase our athletics proficiency to expert. At level 12, we'll take the Stance Savant feat, allowing us to enter a stance that we already know as a free action whenever you roll initiative. We'll also take Automatic Knowledge, allowing us to use the Recall action as a free action, provided we have the Assurance feat for that skill. Level 13 monks gain Master Strikes and Graceful Mastery, upping your unarmed strikes and unarmored defenses to Master Proficiency. We'll also take the Natural Skill Ancestry feat in order to become trained in 2 more skills of our choice. We'll choose Nature and Occultism. We'll also become a master of athletics at this level. At level 14, we'll take the Wall Jump feat, allowing us to make consecutive jump actions using the wall instead of needing to touch the ground again. At Master Acrobatics, this is limited to 1 consecutive jump, but at Legendary, we'll only be limited to the number of actions we have in a turn. We also gain another Monk feat. We'll upgrade our smash attacks with Wild Wind's Gust, which allows us to make wind crash attacks against multiple targets in a 30-foot cone or 60-foot line instead of making our attacks individually. At level 15, for our skill increase, we'll become legendary in Lore Academia, and we finally become a pro hero with the legendary Professional feat. This is more of a roleplay downtime feat rather than combat focused, but basically we become renowned for our Academia lore, and we can even earn an income from our hero knowledge alone. Here we'll also take our third path to perfection for legendary reflex saves and gain greater weapon specialization, increasing our base damage from unarmed strikes to a 6 since we're currently Master Proficiency. Ability boosts are the same as previous levels, and we'll also take crafting training for our free intelligence training. At level 16, we'll take Shattering Strike, allowing our unarmed strikes to ignore resistances. We'll also take Combat Climber, which allows you to still make one-handed strikes while climbing. Starting to realize all these wall climbing abilities will be good for a Spider-Man build. Gonna have to jot that one down. Level 17 humans gain another Ancestry feat. Here we'll take Aeromancer, allowing us to cast level 4 Fly spell innately. This can help save us a focus point on wind jump since focus pools are limited to 3. We'll also get Adamantine Strikes, which is pretty self-explanatory, and we get Graceful Legend, giving us legendary proficiency in key spells and our monk DC. For skills, we'll also become legendary in acrobatics. At level 18, we'll take the Diamond Fist monk feat, which gives our unarmed strikes the Forceful trait. What Forceful means is that for each attack we make in a round, we increase the damage of the subsequent attack by 1. With Haste Up and Flurry of Blows, we can potentially make 6 attacks in a round. So if we're making single strikes with every attack, we'll do 1d6 plus 6 on the first hit, then 1d6 plus 7 on the following, 1d6 plus 8 on the next, and so on. But where this really gets crazy is with our Wild Wind's Gust attacks. Since these have the potential to hit multiple targets, we can get up to a ridiculous number of attacks in a single round. Of course, those are all attacks with our fists, and we still have the option to perform our 1d10 plus 6 attacks with our legs while in Dragon Stance. No guarantee we're going to hit all of those because we still suffer from the multi-attack penalty, but hey, sometimes we just gotta have hope. We also get yet another mobility option with the Quick Swim feat, which gives us a swimming speed equal to our movement speed unless we're legendary in athletics, which we are, in which case your swim speed equals your move speed. Deku literally won a race against his fastest classmate even though they were in the air and he was in the water. Level 19 monks get Perfected Form, meaning on the first strike action we take on our turn, if we roll less than a 10, we can treat it as if it was a roll of a 10 instead. We'll also take the Die Hard feat, so we die at dying 5 instead of dying 4. Normally, I don't like to let my party actually get to the dying condition too often because I'm more of a fun guy than trying to recreate Dark Souls, but your DM might not be so nice, and an extra chance to not die might be what you need to gain the number 1 spot when you go pro. We also become legendary in athletics at this level. Our final level for this build will take Golden Body, which allows you to keep One for All up indefinitely, turning your unarmed strikes into deadly D12s, and you heal 20 HP at the start of each of your turns, provided you have at least 1 HP when your turn begins. For our skill feat, we'll take Cloud Jump, effectively making the jump spell obsolete, as this does the same thing, only you don't have to cast it and it is up forever. Now that we have this build complete, let's go over the pros and cons of this build. First off, you're a monster in combat. High damage, high attacks, and an array of attack options combined with your speed and mobility options means no one is getting away from you, and with an AC of 43, while never being caught flat-footed, you're basically as tough as an ancient dragon. Monks have the best saves in the game, with at least expert in all three. Also, we're about as close to a rogue bard as you're going to get for a jack-of-all-trades character. Between our high intelligence and ancestry feats, there are only 2 skill checks that we aren't at least trained in, but even on those, we'll get a guaranteed 20 thanks to untrained improvisation. Cons to this build, we can't really identify very many high-level spells on the fly since we only have trained proficiency in all of the magical traditions. You also have a very limited spell pool. With only 1 spell slot for each level spell, you might have to metagame a bit in order to be adequately prepared for each encounter. But even the symbol of peace didn't work alone all the time. Make some friends who can pick up your slack and go beyond together. Thanks for tuning in to my first untested build. Please like the video and share with your friends if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. It'll really help the algorithm recognize what I'm doing here. Drop a comment for suggestions on characters you want to see in the future untested builds episode. I'll be trying to post a new build every week. See ya.